Hi, gorgeous prep students. I'm here today for your fourth reading lesson for the week on making inferences. And of course, our success criteria and learning focus are our learning focus is I can make inferences and read between the lines. And to be successful today, you will be able to use your prior knowledge. You'll also be able to use the picture clues and the text to make inferences and assumptions about things that are happening in the stories. So today, when we make inferences, we're going to be behaving like reading detectives because sometimes an author does not give us the information that we absolutely need to understand everything that's happening. It's given in clues like the pictures, some of the words, and also assuming that we need to use our prior knowledge to make some assumptions. So hopefully you have had a chance to watch the wonderful story, The Invisible Boy. I do love that story. It's a nice story about a boy that finds his confidence. Today we're going to be completing an inference jigsaw and we're going to be doing it about the invisible boy. So if you haven't yet watched The Invisible Boy, I want you to click on the link in the slides and watch the story. Great. So now that you've watched the story, let's talk about some inferences you may have made while you were listening to the story. An inference I made was an example when I heard in the story the author said Jason made a terrible mistake. His face turned bright red. And although it doesn't tell us exactly how he was feeling, the fact that Jason made a terrible mistake and his face went red makes me may think, oh, when I get a bit embarrassed, my face goes red. And I'm inferring through those words that Jason was a little bit embarrassed. So we can use the words to tell us things about what the author is trying to convey. Also, we'll see in the story that a lot of the pictures tell us a lot about Brian and the way he is feeling. You'll notice early on in the story, he was looking really sad and his colour was very pale. But further on in the story, his colour came and he began to look like a normal boy. So today for our task, you're going to be completing a jigsaw, what I know, what the text says, and what inferences can I make. Now, if you don't have access to a printer, that's okay. I've drawn an example down here that I did myself. You can get mum and dad to draw one for you as well. So I'm going to use an example today of the part of the story when Brian was sitting at the lunch table with all the kids and they were talking about Madison's party, and you could see that he had a sad look on his face. What I know is when I get invited to a party, I'm happy. But when I know that I'm not invited to things, it makes me feel quite sad. That's my what I know. What the text says, Madison was having a party. Brian wasn't invited to the party. That's what the text tells us. And the inference I made was I inferred that Brian feels sad because he wasn't invited to Madison's party. His face looks sad and the colour also conveys that he's feeling quite upset. So I'm going to fill in 1, 2, and 3 spots for you. Just to show my understanding. So what I know, when I get invited to parties, I feel happy. What the text said, Madison was having a party and Brian wasn't invited. And then it says my inference. So what is my inference? My inference is that Brian is feeling sad about not being invited. So I want you to have a go at filling in 1, 2, and 3. You can just use pictures or words. It's up to you. I want you to have a look at the worked example on the next page of the slide to see my 2 examples. I'm going to give you an example as well from the beginning of the story when it talks about Nathan and Sophie and how they take up a lot of the teacher's time. And that makes Brian feel invisible. Good luck with making your inferences and make sure that you make inferences all the time when you're reading your independent reading books. Bye-bye.